Where is it? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Sisters of Legacy. Yes, I do way too many shows because I was definitely gonna say something that does not pertain to Tuesday night. So forgive me. Hold on, let us run our intro, and I will be right back. Hello again. And yes, I kind of got my mind right after that wonderful intro. So, ladies, introduce yourselves. Ladies.
I'm Tangela. Oh, hey, Shanetta. You threw us off. That's not how you open
I
up.
know.
Like, what?
Okay, so
Who am I?
all right, so we have Shanetta McNair.
That's me.
Tangela Terrell.
Evening.
And Katrina Taylor is back with us this week. All right, Trina, we definitely did miss you last week. The conversation was very interesting. Well, we did have you in the comments a little bit, but we definitely missed seeing your face. So welcome back this week. Conversation is not the same without you. So, ladies, our topic for tonight. I'm gonna read. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm gonna read this quote that I saw, and it kind of led to this topic. If I can find it, let me see. But it was something along the lines, because I don't currently see it. So the quote was saying, hold on. I'm sorry for not being prepared. I spent the first couple of minutes just talking to the ladies. And so I did not pull up the quote. Please forgive me, everyone. But give me 1 second. And okay. So it was a quote by Malcolm X, and I wanted to make sure that I read it properly. The quote says, "It is a time for martyrs now, and if I am to be one, it will be for the cause of brotherhood," which we're going to sub that for sisterhood. That's the only thing that can save this country. So it made me think, does that apply to sisterhood? Could sisterhood be the thing that saves the country? I know last week we kind of talked about what we considered sisterhood to be, the good, the bad, the ugly of it. We kind of discussed that a little bit. But I wanted to know, do we think that sisterhood could be one of the things that saves our communities? Like, do you think that? And then, like, how would that pertain to the role of the woman in rebuilding or building our communities? But it came from that quote, just thinking about, how he said brotherhood could be the thing that saved the community. It kind of make me think, like, does that apply to sisterhood? Like, where do women fit into the role of saving our communities? Do we have a place in that? Is that something we can participate in? Or do we just wait for the men to link up, get together, and fix or save our communities?
I definitely think women have a huge part to play in rebuilding our communities, because we're the cornerstone of the families, and families are and communities are made up of families. And without strong families, you'll tend to have weaker communities. So Do we have a role? Yes, we have a prominent role. When we look even on the front lines of those efforts to change our community. So we're filling roles both in the home, in the community, on the front lines. So I think women have more prominence than we're giving credit for, and that we like to that we often take for granted as well.
Okay. Good evening, Trinette. Hmm. Thanks for joining us. So, Tangela, you said women are the cornerstone. So elaborate. What does that mean?
Women are the heartbeat of the family. We know the statistics of women-led households, and how most, especially in African American communities, women are leading households. And even if there are a two-parent household, the heartbeat of the family is the mother. And I found a quote, not a quote, but a research article, and the author says, in addition to surviving or thriving in environments that are hostile, uh, there's also their ability to create a loving community. Black women create and maintain spaces where people still feel loved, welcome, appreciated, and understand why they're important, even though they're still facing the world. And I thought that was interesting because it highlighted the hostilities and the um, challenges that Black women face, but still can create an environment of love, nurturing, and support for their homes, and not only their homes, their communities. I even, take for example, I know cheer moms. I'm not one, yet. I don't know if my kids ever be involved in something like that, but I know Shanetta probably knows all too well. That's a form of community. And when you're supporting one child, you support all of them, especially if they're on one team. So it may seem small, but that's a huge role to play in creating that thriving community, in that place where children and individuals feel protected and nurtured and supported.
Mhm. I would definitely agree with that. I have actually been cheer mom. I've been a football mom, like just the whole like shebang with when it comes down to kids in the community. And it extended all the way through to when even when my kids were in high school, where we were still doing things, but it wasn't as active because they weren't in Little League anymore. But becoming a part of the community caused us to be responsive when community members need something, because we've been a part of it early on. We've been actively involved in their lives. So last year, actually, yeah, in 2020, we had one of the kids, his mom passed away. That was on my son's football team. So it was ironic that throughout the years we had already been doing stuff for this young man and kind of helping him in different ways. And so when his mom passed away, even though we were in the midst of a pandemic, we came together as a community to support him and to support his family. So his birthday came and we all got together and did something for his birthday, because his mom, and he had his dad still, but not having your mom, you can kind of feel it. Like when things like your birthday come up, you notice. Because dads don't really do all the things that moms do. So being a part of the community, we came together and we did something for his birthday. We made sure that when it came down to time that the moms normally did stuff, that he had representation. So sometimes rebuilding and building the community starts with investing in young people in the community and doing different things to kind of make sure that they have access. When I went to college, I went to an HBCU, and we had two mottos at the school that I went to, and one of them was culture for service. And basically, what that means is that it's a part of our culture to serve others. It's what we do. We gain more, we better and improve our communities and our culture by serving. And I think that it becomes everybody's responsibility to give something back to the community that built you.
I agree.
Excellent point. Trina?
I think one of the ways that we can build our communities is to be intentional about where we spend our money, and keeping our dollars within our community. And that certainly strengthens and builds our community. And we have to be intentional, about supporting Black owned businesses. Um, and we have to, be mindful about the mentality that if it's all Black, it's not equal um to white businesses, or um sometimes we have the mentality, and sometimes it's not even like that conscious, but it's just like, oh, if it's all Black, then it must be ghetto when it comes to schools and communities and stuff like that. And we have to be intentional and understand that we have excellence in our community, excellence in our businesses, and in our educational systems, and support that. Just because it's all Black doesn't mean it's subpar. We have to make sure that we keep our our dollars in our communities, and support people who are building businesses, who are providing services, so that when it's time to go out into the community, we have places to go. So when I need a plumber, when I need an electrician, when I need a carpenter, handyman, the first thing I'm doing is I'm trying to go on, my group, my Black group on Facebook, and find to first support and give them my business, my money first and foremost, and keep that money in our communities.
Mhm.
That's an excellent point. Tangela, you said something. You said when you were talking about, women being the heartbeat of the families, and that sometimes I guess we don't understand the role that we play. Do you think that applies like exponentially across the board? Like sometimes women don't understand the power that they hold when it comes to, our communities and things.
I think so. Well, I'll say it like this. I think we get in the habit of doing. We get on autopilot, and sometimes when you're doing the day to day, it's hard to see the big picture payoff that an impact that you're making. Because it even if it's like you said, Shanetta, coming together, to support this young man. To you all, this may be, this is a natural response for a need that we may feel, but who knows what type of seed that planted inside of him, and what he could go on to be and do. And at the time, you don't do things like that to say, okay, well, when he grow up, he's gonna go to the NFL, and then he's gonna look back and say, you did this. But that's not why we do what we do.
Right.
We do what we do because it's innate in us. It's innate in us to to nurture, to groom, to support, and we do it unconsciously, and it becomes a part of second nature to us. And then sometimes we have to literally take a step back and see the impact that we've had, or people will tell us the impact that we've made on them. I don't think it's readily visible while we're doing it, but I think when you look back, you'll see the impact.
Right.
Yeah.
So Trinette said, I do believe that women have a role in building and rebuilding our communities. However, I think that we must first work on ourselves individually. It's difficult to build others without building yourself. We must heal and have a healthy relationship with self in order to rebuild and rewrite the narratives in our families and communities. I agree with that to a certain extent, though. It's kind of like, the person that says, okay, I'm going to start this when I get myself together.
Right.
And next year, every year you got your resolution. Let's just say it's lose weight. Okay, I'm gonna lose weight after this. So you start every year. In January, I'm lose weight. January comes, something happens. Okay, in March, for spring. I'm gonna get my summer body or whatever it is. And I think sometimes if we always wait for something to start something else, you always run the danger of never starting.
Never
Uh,
starting.
right.
Right.
So I think sometimes, healing can come in a lot of different forms. I know just even being a part of this group and having ladies to talk to, this serves as a support. I can text Janetta or text Tangela or text Trina, about different things and just get another woman's take on it. So, sometimes I pull strength from the people that I'm connected to. So I think sometimes, some of your healing may come from just interacting with other people in the community. Nobody said, you wake up and put on a cape and now you superwoman, and you're going to save everybody. But sometimes the littlest connection can mean the most. So I think we definitely need to work on ourselves, but I'm not in favor of the total delay, where I'm going to just delay it until I feel like I'm 100% who I feel I should be.
I think too, one thing that I kind of that I noticed in that comment is that the topic of healing was being brought up, and everybody isn't broken. Everybody isn't wounded. There are people that are actually whole, that are able to go and serve in the community. We aren't, just because we're women doesn't mean that we need to be healed from something. We might be okay, and we might be doing well enough to be out providing service and serving our communities. So I don't want the narrative of the conversation to seem like we can't serve until we're healed. We have to be healed first in order to help our communities. Some of us want to help our communities. We just don't know how or where to start. And we're not broken because of that. We're not, wounded because of that. We just don't know where to start or how to kind of have that. So I don't want it to seem like, well, we got to heal the world first and then we serve the world. It's kind of some.
Okay, so Shanetta, you brought up a great point. So you said they just don't know how or where to start. So what would be some of your suggestions? How did you start? Where did you start? What do you do? Or do you do anything?
I have honestly, I think a lot of the things that I do community wise comes through things that I'm a part of already. The organizations that I'm already involved in. So whether it's church or whether it's the kids' school, before I had kids and before I was even a part of the church that I'm in, it was because of the career path that I was on. So back in college, like I said, a part of our curriculum to go through our education program was that we had to go and serve in the community. And we were in the midst of I guess most HBCUs, not all, but most HBCUs are in Black communities already. And they're in the part of town that's usually not the best. They don't have the best schools or the best, homes in those areas. So we went out into the community and we had to serve within those communities. So I think the easiest way to start serving in your communities is to start where you're already a part of. What are you already, attending? What are you already going to? Like, where's your church? What does your church do to help the community? What schools do your kids go to? What do those schools do to help in the communities? Where do you live? What can you do around the area that you live in? Even if it's every Saturday morning, me and my kids go out and pick up trash in the neighborhood. Now, me and my kids haven't really done that, honestly, but I did see on, it was on MLK Day. Some community members decided that they were going to take their kids and clean up trash around our kids' school. And it wasn't something that was super organized. It was just something they did. And I literally seen them recognize one of the ladies, and then on Facebook saw a picture where somebody had tagged her saying, look, community members helping the community. And I said, I seen you guys. And when I saw you, I thought like this was awesome. Like that was something so simple, but it was awesome that y'all decided to do that, because people throw stuff out their car windows, kids drop stuff, clean up the community. And the response was, hey, next time we're gonna, let y'all know that this is what we're gonna do, so we can all do it together. So it grows and it gets bigger by simply doing one small thing. So it could be something you just decide to do in your neighborhood.
And I think it's important not to diminish any contribution, because I think, sometimes if I'm not marching or protesting, or if I'm not, steep in the community, then my contribution to rebuilding our community doesn't matter, it doesn't count. You can encourage a child.
Yeah.
You can, if a mother needs some money for diapers, that's a part of building and rebuilding a community too. I think the message that even now, as we're talking, everybody can do something. We all play a part. And I think we have to look outside of, our four walls, and just because we may be good today doesn't mean that'll always be the case. And so I think, while, we may have a measure, of fortune and blessings, we can find a way to give back to somebody and to rebuild somebody, encourage somebody. But I think if our mindset is, who can I bless today, then we'll always find somebody.
So I'm gonna jump in right there with what Tangela just said, because she just brought up my second school motto. I need to go ahead and shout my school out, since we're doing all the mottos tonight from the school, Clark Atlanta University, right here in the city of Atlanta, Georgia. But the second school motto is actually find a way or make one. And so culture for service and find a way or make one. Now, find a way or make one, I use that so much when my sister didn't even go to CAU, and she was like, you always talking about find a way or make one, find a way. But it was really like driven in when I was in school, find a way or make one. So whatever you can find yourself doing, find a way to help somebody else. And I think that's where rebuilding starts.
Okay. So Ashley said that's a huge problem in my state right now. Everyone feels they can do it on their own, and I don't know how to. I don't know. Befriend them. Okay, sure. Ephraim said,
I get it.
My school was deep in the hood. I guess he's talking about his HBCU as well, was active in the community. So just thinking, so you said, Shanetta, find a way or make one. And, I'm listening to you guys. And, I think just as being a woman, some of this it's almost kind of like it's almost simple. It should be kind of simple for us. Women are generally, since everyone's different, I think somebody made the point, nurturers and, teachers and that sort of thing is kind of a part of who we are. And I think like us playing a role in our communities, it should start in our household and in our families. Maybe you don't have kids yet, but there's a niece, there's a nephew, there's a younger cousin, there's someone that you can always pour something into. I think if we focus, maybe the community in your mind seems like a big task and you don't know how to start outside your doors. But if you equip the children and the younger generation within the confines of your family, if you just start there, each one teach one. Teach them something. Let them go out of the house and spread that message, that you've given them. Something even like Shanetta said, as simple as find a way or make one. Teaching a child something that basic. When they're outside, they're like, when they run into that friend that feels like, I don't know what I'm going to do. They say, listen, my Aunt Shanetta always say, find a way or make one. and right there, just the words that you've given them can impact your community. So I think sometimes it's a lot simpler, than we make things out to be. Sometimes we make it a mountain and it looks like an unsurmountable task, because we made it such a big thing. But I think if we start, with those that are already immediately connected to us, impart something, share something with them, and let them take it out the doors and share it with a friend and a friend and a friend.
Mm-hmm.
So Ashley said, I just read something last week from the writer of the Law of Attraction, and she said how she went out and handed. I've been trying to do that. I don't know if it's working. So okay, I guess she's saying just handing out things to people. I don't know. I think I might have lost something in the comment. But yes, that works. I know I've said before, sometimes just smiling at somebody in the grocery store, goes a long way. I know everyone has had that day at work sometimes where you got in the car and it's like, now I got to go to the grocery store, and you go in there and your whole day has just been not very desirable. And the last thing you want to do is have to go to the store too. And you go in the grocery store and somebody just does something random and kind or smiles at you. The littlest things can make a difference. And I think as women, we have to realize we are so much more powerful, Tangela, like you said, than often we give ourselves credit for. I mean, just as physical beings, we carry life. Like, we literally do that without even trying. Like, we literally, already do that. So I think we're already so powerful. And so that's kind of the other side of where sisterhood comes in. Because if I take my power and I share my power with Trina, and then Trina takes what I shared with her, add her to it, and then she shared with Shanetta. And I think if we, concentrate on those type of things, sharing what we have with the person, with the people that we encounter, I think it would go a long way. Spiritual butterfly, thanks for joining us. Blessings to you as well. Trina, did you want to?
Yes. No. I was listening. I didn't know you had a question.
No, I just,
listening.
I wanted to give you an opportunity to say something because I know everybody else had said something. So I was just trying to see if you wanted to add something. So funny. So, okay. So I'll say for the most part, we believe that, the man is the head, and we stand in support, of men doing what they do. Do we as women feel like we can lead the charge in our communities? Or do we feel like we're in a position where we have to, kind of pull it back and only do so much because we're waiting for them to do something? Or do we feel like, this is something we can lead the charge in?
I think it's our God-given duty and right to feel and to step up and maximize every ounce of potential that we have. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's predicated upon our gender. I think it has everything to do with the passion and desire to see change happen. And I know my dad usually has a saying. Well, it's not original. I know he got it from somebody else, but he says leadership sees a void and fills it. Right. It doesn't wait to say, "Oh, I'm gonna wait for a man to come and do it." Well, no, our communities need help, and if there's not a man around to step up to do it, do we allow our community to fail because there's not a man? Or maybe it takes a woman to open up the men's eyes to fall in line. But I don't think we should ever play second fiddle, or shrink down in order to allow the man to lead the charge. I believe if God is putting a desire in your heart and passion in your belly to do something for our community, then it is your duty to make sure you execute on what God has given you.
I agree.
Um, let's see. I said leadership sees a void and does it. True. That was great. You put that perfect. I don't even think I could have said it better. I think you put that perfectly. So yes, we all, I feel like, that the question was, do women have a role? Yes. We all have a role in, I mean, your community, your life is intertwined in this. Your life is intertwined in your community, whether you feel like it should be or it isn't. Because, sometimes if you let things go unattended to, it can very well affect your life and your livelihood and your household or your children. So we definitely all have a responsibility. To be better, to do better, to want to see those that come after us do better. I mean, we can't change, what has already happened, but we can definitely steer change in a different direction for the future. We all have the power to do that. Like Tangela said, regardless of your gender, you have that power within you. It's just about realizing who you were created to be.
And you know something, as I was sitting here, I think about Rosa Parks, and we all know her story. And I think about how on that day that her life changed and the trajectory of African Americans in America changed. I don't think she set out to be revolutionary. I don't think she set out to, on this day is, I'm going to make history today. I think she was fed up with the way her people were being treated. She was tired, and she said that enough is enough. And that's all it took. And I think if we had that same attitude about our communities, just to say, you know what, I'm tired of seeing how, our young people are struggling. I'm tired of seeing how our communities are suffering.
Right.
And enough is enough. And do what comes, it comes naturally. In her case, I'm not getting up. And y'all just gonna have to pull me out. And I think that when we, it goes back to the same narrative. It's within you. Nothing that she did was outside of herself.
Right.
So we can do something, but I think we have to have the right motivation in order to pull it out of us. And it should just to be, looking around us.
Right. I totally agree. Okay, so I'm assuming this is Anthony. He asked a question. Is there a hesitation to fill this void or waiting for somebody? Okay, so I think we've already addressed the second part. But is there a hesitation to fill this void? Sometimes I don't know if people, is as weird as this may seem, sometimes I don't feel like everybody sees that there's a void. For some people, unfortunately, it's just like, this is the way things are, or this is the way things have always been. I mean, just let's be realistic. If we were all created to be leaders or agents of change, then we wouldn't need change. You know what I mean? Like, if everybody was designed to do the same thing, there would be no need for it, because there would always be somebody doing it. So I feel like, there's always going to be those people that see the void and, attempt to address it. And then there's, the other people that may just be like support staff, like you come on to assist what somebody has already done or whatever. But even with that being said, there's always a place for everyone. I think you just have to figure out, again, who you are and where you fit in the equation.
Everybody is not a protester.
Right.
And everything doesn't need a protest. So it sometimes I think there are people who have the heart of service, but they want to do something grand or something big or something that everyone sees. And sometimes that's not where it starts. Sometimes you have to start in the thing that doesn't get the attention of the masses. And you just kind of start where you are. And sometimes things grow unexpectedly, and you start something, and before you know it, it's something that's big and massive that has impacted, hundreds of thousands of people, and you didn't even know or intend for it to even be that. You just started out trying to help the family down the street, but it became something that grew. But everything is not going to be on the forefront. For me, for instance, there's a lot of social injustice that we know needs to be changed in our communities, right? But I'm not one that's going to go and make a picket sign and go and start a protest throughout the community. I might be one to help you make your signs, though, to make
Right.
sure that you can have your signs and your flyers when you go out to protest. That's my part. That's my role. But I'm probably not going to come out there with you to march. That's just not that's not my side of it. That's not what I'm going to do. So I think we all have roles to play in building, rebuilding, and making changes in our community.
I agree with that, and as far as working where you are and being who you are,
Right.
it's important that you, like, of course, I'm the introvert. I'm not gonna be, leading the charge like rah, but the little boy that's in my care, I'm gonna take extra time with him when I see he's lagging behind with his
Right.
letter recognition, whatever. I'm gonna take that extra time to support him and his mom because I know his mom is going through whatever she's going through. So I'm gonna support him and her and that family, and now that family is doing better in the community, and the community is doing better. So it's just taking even personal um time and interest, taking personal interest in individuals, and in, like I think Shanetta said, the family down the street, you know, um, and that helps to rebuild a community. Even just taking the time with one of whoever's in your purview and what's comfortable for you. And of
Right.
course, we have to step out of our comfort zone sometimes, but
Just a little.
a little bit,
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
little bit. Um, but yeah, where you are, there's always somebody around you. And we were in. I think you were talking about your church or community. Um, I'm a dancer. I used to be a dance mom. I used to be I guess football's going to start back soon, so I'll be back being a football and a lacrosse mom. But a lot of times, there were times where we, just supporting each other.
Right.
Anybody had, it was always one kid who didn't have their mouthpiece. So then your bag and hand that extra mouthpiece off to whoever down on the team. So it's just supporting each other and wherever you are.
I totally agree. All those things would definitely work. Um, like I said, we talked about sisterhood last week, and so it kind of all, it all works together. It's all connected. Establishing a sisterhood can lead to, how it's affected in the community. For Shanetta to assist with making signs, I might have to be the one out there with the big mouth doing the yelling and the waving, because that's just how the dynamic works. But because we're connected, it still becomes we've all participated in facilitating whatever change, we're striving for. And I know, I hear people say all the time, oh, I can do this by myself and and it's great. We were all designed differently. And yes, being by yourself may be great, but there's going to be a time where being by yourself is not enough. Regardless of whatever. And I know people like, I'm 40 and I made it and I didn't need nobody, which is not always totally 100% true. You do need people. People can enhance your life. Other women can enhance your life. I'm not saying you have to depend on anyone, but connecting to people, even if it's just to get something accomplished, goes a long way. We see it in other communities a lot of times, where there's somebody's uncle got a job. And so my uncle work at this company, but because we friends, I'll tell him and he'll get you a job. We've seen this type of thing. So the same thing can apply to us as women. I know somebody that do this. So Shanetta, I'll connect you to this person, that sells art supplies. So now when it's time for you to create something, it becomes a lot cheaper because I'm connected to this person. But if Shanetta never talks to me, if she never makes that connection,
Right.
she'll never know, what I have access to or what benefit to her life that I can be. And it's not always about getting something tangible from people. Like I said, I can call them and what I get may not be something I can hold in my hands, but I can hold it in my heart.
Right.
Or it's something, that may settle my mind because I'm having that kind of day where everything just seems to be moving way too fast. Sometimes people just having that connection, somebody to help keep you grounded. All those things are important. And yes, it can impact outside of your house. Like the what was her name? Trinette, she commented, about healing. And it's not about, a being broken. Sometimes it's just, maybe you grew up without your family. Maybe you and your family aren't close. It could just be, one specific dynamic that you need to fill a hole or fill a void, and connecting to somebody else can serve that purpose. We never know the things that God has put in our path unless we stop and touch it or stop and pick it up or stop and access it. Because let's be honest, he's given us everything we need. We just have to be brave enough sometimes to access what's in our path. And it could always come in an unconventional way.
Right.
You'll be surprised of the jewels that you'll encounter if you just reach out and connect to other people. And it all impacts our community and impacts where we live. Being connected, a united front, it all makes a big difference on a larger scale. We all have our part to play. So, ladies, did you want to add anything? No.
Me.
Good.
Great discussion.
Yeah.
I love how you guys make those faces. It is just great. So thank you guys for joining us this week. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate the comments. We are on every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Right, this is and we cover a series of topics. So we thank you. We look forward to being with us again next Tuesday. So we will see you then.